Welcome, King Kirby here, and this is Kosmocratic Communication or Conversations, either way. And it is, yes indeed, KKK. I hope that wakes you up. And I am joined by the most astute speakers of our time, and I say that because it's just who you're around, right? It's who you're around that makes the matter worth meaning in your world. So I'm excited and joyful. I'd like to give them an opportunity to both speak as they will. We're not going to utilize so much titles because that is overwrought in our world. You kind of can go anywhere and buy a few letters and put them behind your name. But the true meaning of what is what is the source that lights your dreams. The component that keeps you aroused in the night. So I'll start by saying that the maternal, the mother, the essence of source and sustenance is who and what I bring to the table. It's who I'm committed to being, and my opportunity here with you is to continue that. And I'm asking that the two of you enlighten us as to how or where you would like to, if you will, introduce yourself to those who are first time seeing us.
Dave Lee is my name. Just here to share some information, like we always talked about. It's the ebb and flow of communication, and you'll go crazy if you don't bounce ideas back on people.
That's the truth. Get
stuff flowing, and yeah, just excited to always find the next piece of the puzzle is one of my mottos. Everybody's got a piece of the puzzle. Always be listening to everybody, you know. Right or wrong?
My name is Randy Blake. Most of you might know me as Boom Boom, world champion kickboxer, and I'm excited to be here with this wonderful team. And I'm just gonna do my part and add a little bit of seasoning to whatever topic we talk about. But it's just gonna be an amazing time, and I'm looking forward to making this rock and roll.
Rock and roll. So one of the things that we're committed to is not performing. So we are probably, every now and then I'm probably gonna look at the camera, but for the most part, we're just gonna have a dialogue. And you all can sit, enjoy, and check us out. So the first thought that comes to mind is, in each era or each decay or decade, there is a pervasive theme of dis-ease. So there was a time of polio. There was a time of pneumonia. There was a time of cancer. There's a time of AIDS. I think this may be the time of insanity. And if we were to look back at ourselves 50 years and look back to where we are, I think they would call this the Great Connection. Now, why am I saying that? Because when has it ever been that you could, in instantaneous moments, televise your most mundane activities?
Or your mental breakdowns.
Oh wow, we'll speak on it. That's that. Yeah. Well, isn't that pretty much what it is it not?
Right.
It's an expression to somehow or another glorify that I'm real. So I show you my raw. But we don't take into consideration that it's also a bit of a, if you will, amplification, which requires the energy to, if you will, resolve is being put into its show and tell. So if you, let's put it this way, if you build the airplane, you also build the crash.
It's going to eventually break down.
Is that the truth? I mean, if you don't realize it, in every invention there's the antithesis. So what is it that we are also, with this great resource of being able to talk live, what's not being shown to us that's on the other side of that? So you mentioned the concept of our trials that we're putting forth. What is the ramification of that long term? What do you all perceive from that? So when someone is able to open up their phone and then show you that someone just, for example, accosted another person, mm-hmm. Is that not also on some level glorifying the action? Isn't that also, if you will, giving emphasis as well as giving the shining the light on the injustice? Like, at what point do we start?
Yeah, it's basically a stage, and people are terrible performers. They don't know what to put on, like, they don't belong on the stage. And we got everybody that can have, you know.
So we're becoming actors.
And I'll give this trash to you, and I'll twist, you know, make it perceive like here's news, or here's something that might help you in life. Probably not. You know?
I see.
And it's also their need to feel it's their right to do it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what are you gonna do? It's my platform, so I can say what I want, whether you like it or not. But I'm gonna feed the fuel of, hey, whether you like it or not, the next person is gonna add to the fuel, and now you got drama, and that's where the chaos starts.
So we have a nice display here. We've got interesting ages between us and backgrounds. What is happening today? So catch me up. If you notice, I'm sitting in the learner chair. I'm here. If you allow me, I'll be the first learner. Okay. So tell me what's happening. I know that we talked about watching people's breakdowns. So for the sake of dialogue, there are the leading in the music industry, I guess, at this particular point, who have had a cat fight. I guess the Cardi B and the Nicki Minaj are either staging or creating a catapult for their next big hit. And I grasp. Is that right?
Yes.
I mean,
thing, no news is bad news, or what's right. All publicity is good publicity.
And beneficially or not, they are willing to sacrifice themselves, and also as role models show that they're still able to throw hands. I guess throwing hands is a good thing now. You can throw hands.
You throw hands, yeah.
Talk about throwing hands. Except, you know, there's a difference in doing it and you getting paid. Is that not right?
Right. It's usually if you have to talk about it, you're not really being about it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but that's the cool thing with those guys on that level. You know, they've got millions of followers, so they can say what they want to say. They can say I'm Superman, and all their several million followers are going to believe them. So it's like David said, it's truly an act at the end of the day.
Wow. Interesting. So what else is happening? We have weather that's coming towards Florida, and people have been told to evacuate. Not just the lower part. I understand literally almost the entire state. And there are people who are saying, we've been through this before, we're not leaving. And I guess then in turn the governor is saying that if you don't, then you're on your own, as if there's another option to this. So what are your take on this? What do you think the earth is saying?
That's deep.
Well, there's a school of thought that says that where these travesties occur seem to also be synonymous with what, as one point was called, the trade of slaves, or the trafficking of human. That there was a significant amount of bloodshed or anguish that transpired in certain areas, and the earth is still erupting in its cleanse process. Or there's a thought that we have so polluted our environment that the unrest is being balanced by these weather consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they had, you ever seen where it's like they open up both lanes of the highway for evacuation, so it's like all going one way, and then there'll be like that tiny road, there'll always be that, you know, a few people heading back in. It's like, what, you know, the weather doesn't care what your bank account says. Those people can't go get a hotel, you know. You're like, wow, this is where I live.
I see.
And so I'm hunkering down.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes, because it takes gas, it takes fuel, it takes funds to even get it in your transportation device to
All
get
the
up the
stuff
road.
that we think we're in control of, oh, if the wind and the water comes too hard, you're not in control anymore. Yeah.
And I guess there's a push right now for people to, if they haven't before, show up in the political arena coming this November, as there seems to be a tremendous amount in the states, the United of States, unrest in our political environment, from the Oval Office down to your mayor's office. So there's a tremendous amount of awareness that's happening right now. So one of the things I'm wondering if this is creating a new spirituality. It seems as though we are becoming more aware. You know, never before, I haven't had the opportunity to grow up in a church culture. I have to say, today's church is more liberal than I grew up in. What today's church is able to do.
Do they elect pastors, or how does that even happen?
That's huge. Yes, they do. They do.
It's like it's a vote or something, or what do the people do, or just the most popular guy? Like,
I think it is more based on popularity. I mean, if you have a mouthpiece, meaning if you can get in front of a crowd and you can keep them entertained, or you can keep them into tune with what you're saying, then yeah, they want you there. Mm-hmm. But if every time they announce, hey, Joe Schmo is going to be speaking with us this Sunday, and everyone's leaving, going back to their cars, and you're probably not going to be at that church as a pastor. So I think
recruited.
I think you are recruited, or in some way you are voting, but without the actual, ballot.
Oh, I see. You vote with your presence.
Maybe you vote with your presence. You vote with your bottom being in that chair every Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I know in certain denominations there's higher ups that do the picking, and they actually move around ministers, and then there are mostly the others who let a small committee in that environment make a decision. But I think the thing that's probably the most interesting is that when I say church culture, nowadays I understand modern day church is a concert. It is loud. It is raucous. It takes on
6 guitars.
Yes, indeed. I love it. Yes.
I can only hear 2 of them.
Yeah.
Spoken like a musician. I love it. So let me say this statement. Out of what you don't want is born what you do want.
Yes.
What do you hear?
I could probably speak on that from from my past growing up in a Baptist church. And you sung hymns of the month. I hate to admit this, but they were boring songs. I hated it. It was just like, gosh, okay, we got the hymn of the month and it's January. Why are we still singing the same song in November?
Oh wow!
So modern day church, they've changed that. It's like, okay, we got to do something about this. So yeah, I mean, it is more of a concert concept, but at the same time, that's relevant.
It is relevant,
and that's what's going to also bring you back and keep you into tune. I mean, the lyrics are great, and I think that's why people do go, because it's like, number one, church service ain't really that long. It's maybe 45 minutes to an hour versus back then. You're in church all day long, so I'm missing breakfast, lunch, dinner, football, basketball games,
everything.
Then I got to go back to work on Monday. Why do I want to do this? Whereas modern days, you go in, it's like a fast food restaurant. You get in, you get what you need, you get out, and I get the rest of my Sunday to do what I want to do.
So what do you all? What is your take on? Let's talk a little more edgy. Meditation. And what is your take on a source that is outside of the matrix, whatever that may be? Or where are you all with that thought? And I know sometimes you're just like, okay, don't want to offend, don't want to say too much, but just say where you are. And people, offense is an individual thing, so you can't give offense. You gotta actually receive it. So we ain't passing out offense today. We're defensing, taking fences down, okay? So let's take it that direction. So yeah, what's your take on that? And breathe on it. I love that y'all think about it. Don't feel rushed. This is not pre-planned. This is just a moment. So
meditation.
Meditation.
You know, I think it's a good thing. I think, you know, if you have to go back to the very beginning of the whole conversation, I think we could use that as a culture, as a society, as a universe. I think it would bring down a lot of the stress, a lot of the drama, just the negativity that's going around. Because everywhere also amped up. Oh, I gotta prove my point. I'm gonna get that person back and pay them back and, you know, get even with them. It's like, dude, if you would just go read a book, or just go listen to music, go work out, go punch a bag. You know, there's different types of meditation, but I think that's good for the soul. That's my take on it.
David?
Yeah, well, meditation is now kind of almost like a buzzword where it's coming, you know, like it was just for the hippies and the monks or whatever, but now, like I was dropping my little girl off at school and checked her in a little late, and they start the moment of silence where they say, like, now's the time to pray or meditate, blah, blah, blah. So after school I asked her what she was, you know, what do you do during that time? And she was like, get in trouble for talking.
Wow.
And I was like, well, that's when you're supposed to, like, quiet your mind, you know, like, realize you're there. You know, this is a 6-year-old, so she's just kind of like, yeah, right, Dad. You know, and I was like, breathe in that prana. You know, like, we always joke about that. And it's like, yeah, but it's a huge tool, and I think meditation is, you know, that it's the same thing as prayer when you put your thoughts on the stuff and just calm down for a second, you know, become present. And it's not about shutting your brain off. That's why it you know, a lot of people don't even start because they're like, oh, I can't stop thinking, and then I start thinking about I'm thinking when I'm not supposed to be thinking. It's not even about, you know, like, it's the different breath work where a lot of people from other religions don't even know the other religions, or like the breath of fire stuff, you know, it's like you can actually have sensations and focus on them and quiet your monkey mind, you know, type thing. So I think it's gonna be like a fad, but then I also think that the people that can actually grab a hold of it can use it as a daily tool in their life, you know, forever. Once you learn how to do it, and, you know, it's one of those things it becomes habit. Yeah.
The thing that comes up for me is that there's this idea that you have to do something to do nothing. So in order to meditate, you've got to activate something and then say, I'm not doing anything. So like, you may have to get your yoga pants and your yoga mat, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of like what people are in with the crystals and gyms and stuff. It's not that thing has power. It's like, oh, here, I'm looking at this purple one, so I think of this at the purple time. You know, so something tangible.
Something tangible. A lot of times what I go to is what I would use the phrase non-duality. Meaning there's nothing to fix because nothing is broken. And there isn't a meditation, there's an awareness. And when you come to awareness and you tell me, you know, don't think, well, that in itself is the whole premise of what we are. You know, you don't ever not do that on some level.
It's always this. And like just, yeah, get your feet on the ground first. You know.
Yes. So let me ask you another one. Do we perceive the world or do we project the world? Do we perceive the world or do we project the world? I know you got to think about that.
Yeah,
I'm still thinking about it.
I would think like projecting is kind of like a low vibration kind of thing, where it's like, because this is what I feel or doing, so you must have it, or not actually like perceiving what you're doing, you know, where, yeah, it seems like a lot of negative people will just put situations on top of, you know, project, you know, personalities on other people just by what they look like or what, anything, you know.
So if you perceive, then your world must be made of matter. But if you project, then your world must be made of mind.
But then that's almost a divided culture.
Huh?
I mean, yeah, it's like David said, like, you know, I think we are a very negative driven country, and it's almost about like, well, what do I feel? And since I feel it, I'm right. It's about me, and so my neighbors, my neighbors across the street, you have to feel what I feel. And if you don't feel what I feel, or think the way I think, or listen to the music I listen to, play the sports that I play, then you're not normal.
And is there a difference between being normal and what's natural?
I think it's based off the mind and what you think.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tell me more, because there's a whole lot that's normal right now.
Right.
You know, it was normal at one
20
time.
years ago, all that, you know, there was tons of stuff where there was like senators getting involved with like what music we could listen to.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on now. Or what books you should read, or should be on the shelf.
It used to be okay to give beatings in public, you know, to children,
Yes.
you know, as a form of discipline. That's not normal anymore. Now, DHS will come get you.
Quick. Go get them, and then someone else will come get you.
So I do think the word normal changes as time evolves.
There was this book once, just thinking of book clubs, it was called Eat, Pray, Love. And I thought about it. If you spell that word pray, P-R-E-Y, it's an interesting thing, because truly we are in an environment where people are eating their prey. And that's kind of what you're speaking about there. So okay, let me give us one more, and I say that because we can't go anywhere until we get into this nutrition. You know, I think the pyramid that I grew up with, and I don't know if you all knew about it, that they had grains and bread and all this kind of stuff at the larger part, and it's moved up to the deal. One, I think that pyramid is really probably not the best symbol, because it in itself implies eliteness, and it creates a class cultural order. And I think we're missing something when we get to nutrition. Mental nutrition is where it starts, but the other component is what we allow to go in our mouths. You know, the L in the Hebrew language, it would be a term used for God. And so the elbow is it bowing to bring, if you will, sustenance to the mouth. And it's not by chance that the hands are used to help us communicate and to give information out. So the first food source I would suggest, and I'm open and love for you all to speak to me on that, is light.
Oh yeah, I definitely experienced that this summer. One of the best summers of my life, being out at the pool, and then I was definitely felt some energy from that. And then if I didn't get out there, I was, you know, felt, you know, no motivation or really anything. And so, yeah, transdermal stuff is real, you know, it's supposed to go in your eyes, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And then back to the meditation where you visualize it going in the top of your head and all that. It sounds silly, but yeah, it's there.
You know, they call it the book. They talk about being the light of the world. Light is also information.
Right. And I mean, as like David said, it's good.
It is.
It's good. You know, it's got you do your research on it, just natural vitamin D. And I think that's we are deficient in that as a culture. And the more light, the better. The more energy you're going to have, probably your stress will come down, and you're going to be, prone to living a better life if you do get more light into your system.
So here's my thought: mental nutrition. Before you allow the light from your digital devices into your retina, start each day by first getting natural light. Look out that window. There is a reason now that everyone is picking up on what's called blue light blockers. There's something about our circadian rhythm that is not properly being attuned because we're not actually ever giving the body the proper light, nutrition to start with. So we are becoming a culture of zombies because we're not within our proper state of mind because the body has never actually awoken. So what would be the proper light? Light at the very early part of the day or light at the very end portion of the day. But any time of the day, getting light outside is going to be phenomenal. And I think this is vitally important because what we don't realize is that the phones are light. We're being tricked to believe we're reading and seeing pictures and pixels, but really, what if I told you it's a ray? And just like you can get information from your phone, you can just stare at it like a crystal ball, staring at glass, and then somehow or another you can think you've just read a feed. Notice it says feed, okay? You can do the same thing under that, what we call a ball of source raw, as we are in, if you will, a plant with leaves taking in the greatness. See, in that, I believe, are all of our books, our music, our poetry. The inspiration is in that consumption or ingestion of the supreme light. So I bring that and I bear that to mind because it is easily forgotten, easily overlooked. But nevertheless, we interact in a world, mobile technology, where we realize who do we give feed to in our world? What animals do we give feed to? Exactly. So what are we if we're being told, go read the feed? This is huge. And nothing happens by chance. Words are magic, and they do, if you will, program. The DNA is extremely sensitive to words. So we'll continue. We'll keep our flow of dialogue. I keep the floor open because this is any direction. I say omnidirectional. We don't have a linear thought. We're just flowing. But if you got anything else you want to bring to the table, please do so. Otherwise, what I'm suggesting is we take a gentle pause because this is a lot of information. We have a lot of tidbits. And I think what we'll do as we progress in this, we'll start unpacking more specifically certain areas. But this is exciting to be able to just come together. I want to appreciate and let you both know how grateful I am. You are an inspiration to me, and you are the star. You are my stars. You are the star of my life. I'm no longer projecting this into the Hollywood. The forms that I never actually know are I really don't know if Halle Berry exists. I've never met her. I don't know anything about her. I've only seen pixelated versions of something called that. But I do know I can reach out and touch you. And so I'm going to take it from here, and I'm going to start investing the energy that I have into those that I am with, as that seems to be the more sane option in life. And so in this era of what I would call the great connection, reach out and touch somebody's hand.